All right, something's got to go. Here's the 4 things you have to choose. We have to decide as a team out of the 4 things. The base is Cincinnati chili, 3-way, chili 3-way, a chili cheese coney,
Classic.
yeah, chili cheese fries,
That's mine.
or a Cholito, chili cheese burrito, Cholito.
Oh,
You're saying Cholito's gotta go?
No, I'm just
So
saying.
you have to pick one.
What is a Cholito?
Yeah, I don't even know
It's
what
a-
Okay,
it is.
it's like
burrito filled
it's a
with chili
burrito
and
with
cheese.
chili and cheese in it, and
I
you
feel
can
like
put
it's
whatever
a
else
base.
in there if you
I
want.
feel like the fact that
pass.
half
No,
of us
it's
don't even know
so
what a Cholito
good.
is means it should be.
Okay, well, I can
You
take a
guys are
try.
from Cincinnati. You don't know what any of these things are.
Get rid of the Cholito.
Come on.
Cody,
Yeah,
Cody,
yeah.
Mr. Cody.
With onions
It's a
and mustard,
staple.
With onions and
Ew.
mustard.
Yeah,
Okay, so Coney stays.
Cody stays.
3-way.
Which
I feel like
I
anyway,
feel
I
like
should
that has
ask
to
you.
stay. Okay, so we're gonna keep the 3-way. We'll keep the chili cheese coney.
So it's between the fries and the Cholito.
Yeah,
Okay.
clearly the fries gotta go.
No!
They get all soggy.
We need an answer.
If you get them
The
carry
fries
out, then
aren't
the
good.
What's
chili
messiest?
soaks down, the cheese gets melty.
So they're soggy?
It's ideal.
I think the Cholito.
No, it's
Cholito.
great.
Cholito's the messiest?
If you vote for Cholito is out, raise your hand.
I'm so
Haters.
and keep your hand raised if you've ever eaten one.
Oh.
Exactly. Exactly.
I used to eat them and then I grew up.
Cholito's gone.
Yeah, one yes.
Fries, Coney, 3-way are our winners.
Boom.
Yes.
They say.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry, Stacy.
Whatever, y'all. Today we're going to talk a little bit about forgiveness, which I know in my life personally, and what I've seen too in other people, that sometimes when you hold on to unforgiveness, it can create things like bitterness. And a lot of times it actually ends up hurting you more than it hurts the other people, the person that you're not forgiving. And so is it harder to receive forgiveness, or is it harder to give forgiveness?
That's a good question.
I am really hard on myself already, and like when I mess up, when I need forgiveness, that's hard for me because I take messing up personally. I take hurting someone personally. So when someone forgives me, that's a really hard thing for me because it reminds me of how I messed up, how I didn't do something right. So I think it's a lot harder to receive forgiveness for me than it is to give forgiveness.
I struggle more with forgiving others because I feel like sometimes I have to re-forgive them every day. If something really hurt me or someone I really trust broke that trust, and I struggle with this line of the phrase I've always heard, forgive and forget. Do I have to forget? Do I just trust you the same, or am I supposed to set boundaries, or but what would Jesus do? And I have a lot of internal struggling against forgiving others because I feel like I can forgive them, but then I struggle with what does a relationship after forgiveness look like. I think that's where I struggle the most.
Yeah, I think there's a key part in learning from forgiving someone, in which we all have the opportunity to not only forgive someone, but also this is a real crappy experience. I don't know if I want to put myself in this exact position or put myself in this relationship again.
Yeah.
And we all should be evaluating that. So evaluating whether or not the relationship is, I can forgive you, but that doesn't mean we're still going to have the same friendship that we had before, or it doesn't mean that things are going to go back to normal. But that's definitely hard to kind of manage and tension to manage.
Yeah, those things take time. If anybody hurts you, or if you hurt someone, it takes time to get back to where you are. It takes time. It takes time to gain trust or rebuild the trust that you had, or whatever that friendship looked like before whatever happened. And sometimes time doesn't feel good. Especially if you're the one that hurt someone and you're the one being given grace, or you're the one being forgiven. It's I just want to be able to be back to normal, but it doesn't just work like that. Especially, depending on what that situation looks like. But
Yeah, I struggle with that, especially when it's me who needs the forgiveness, wanting things to be instantly back the way they were, and I've had to realize that if I want to continue relationships with people, that I need to give them space to heal sometimes when they're forgiving me. So
How many times should you forgive someone?
I'm not great at math, but I know that there's a verse in the Bible that talks about, like, Jesus answers that question. Like, people ask him, and he said, like, 7 times 7, and he said 7 times 70, you know, or, like, which to me, I can't count that high. So that, in my mind, is every time. Always forgive. That verse sticks with me a lot when I don't want to forgive someone, and it could be something as stupid as, like, I'm driving and a car cuts me off, or a friendship that hurts me, or an ex-boyfriend, or whatever it is. That verse does stick with me. It's a reminder, because Jesus calls us to forgive.
Yeah, I like that you brought that up, because I feel like if we're not forgiving people, then it's just gonna sit, like you said, it's just gonna sit in us, and it comes out as anger or bitterness, and then it affects all your relationships, right? Not just that one person that did that one thing to you. Like, it affects your relationship with your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your best friend, and it could be somebody who just did something as small as cutting you off in traffic. Like, it changes your mood for the entire day, and I'm like, I don't want to carry that crap around with me.
And that's really good, because a lot of times we think forgiveness is always for the other person. Like, oh, we're doing this for someone else. Like, oh, we're giving them forgiveness. But, like, in reality, it's just as beneficial, if not more beneficial for us.
Absolutely.
People think that, like, I know in my life, like, if I have a problem with someone, I'm like, I can just write them off because life's just a movie and that's their character. Like, I have that mentality about people. But luckily, like, I can be a part of, like, affecting change in people by being better at forgiving people. And, like, you know, some people may have never received the grace that forgiveness has. And, like, how can, like, oh my gosh, that I've been forgiven, and although I've fallen into an awkward situation with this person, like, it's different. It, like, changes that person. So I think that's great. You know, it's like you can gain something from that.
How do you turn it from a thought into action? How do you actually forgive and do that?
I think it's the way we show grace. You know, if somebody says something that's hurtful to me, if I in my mind I'm just like, yeah, I forgive them, it's not going to change the way that I treat them. I'm still going to be mad at them. But if in action I forgive them, then I'm going to extend grace to them. So, like, they may have said something that was hurtful, but I'm going to still treat them with love and respect the next time I interact with them. Regardless, I would treat them the exact same that I would have before they said the hurtful thing.
And it gives the people in our lives a chance to grow. Like, there have been times where somebody had the conversation with me, like Dakota's talking about, like, hey, you did this thing and it hurt me, and I just want to let you know that I need to forgive you. And sometimes I've intentionally done things that hurt people, but a lot of times, like, I didn't, right? I didn't know that I had done the thing that I had done. And so I got to grow as a person because my friend cared about me enough
And
to
your
forgive
friendship,
me.
yeah.
Yes. So you're right. Like, it probably felt great for those people the times I've been forgiven, but it also just changed how I was acting, and how many other friendships did that benefit, and how many other relationships did I treat differently because of that.
Yeah, that's big, Abby. I feel like we try to, like, run away from hard things a lot of times. I do personally. But embracing those hard times, those have been the moments where I've grown the most. Identifying what I did wrong or what someone else did wrong, and forgiving.
That's good.
Which is awesome, and is, like, the best end result I think you can get, right? Is, like, when that friendship still works out. I think for me, it's what happens when it doesn't, you know? Like, I love social media, and, like, I'll be scrolling through Instagram and maybe I'll see something of a person that I've been in a fight with, or need to forgive, or need to regularly, like, forgive, and sometimes I just have to, like, put that away, because if I can't control myself, like, scrolling, I just have to, like, put my stuff away, pray for that person, and then go do something that's gonna get my head out of that space.
You have to invite God into that process, because if I'm dependent on Abby's logic, then things are always going to be out of balance, right? Like, I'm always going to be keeping score in that relationship, or even just in all my relationships, right? Like, here's the ones I'm doing great at, here's the ones I'm sucking at, I need to give these attention, and sure, there's some value to, like, evaluating your relationships, but if I'm keeping score and I'm not inviting God into that process,
It's not gonna end well.
Right, I'm in trouble. Like, I am always going to be on the losing end of that, and so are the people in my life. So I have to invite God into that if anybody's going to win.